What's up, guys? Welcome back to yet another vlog. We haven't done this in a long time where I'm actually sitting here and talking to you guys, and that's because you know the kind of videos that I love. I love videos that are having me go out there because YouTube in Zambia is very crazy, and you might sit down here, do everything, maybe not even have fun making the video, and then it doesn't even get any views. And you're obviously wondering why am I looking so smart. But anyway, the topic of this video is I want to tell you guys some of the most Zambian car mods that I see people doing. I obviously will not list all of them, but I'll try and at least talk about those that I know of. If you see me pressing something behind you, that's because the laptop is behind and I've put the phone a tripod on top of the laptop because I wanted some few points just to help me recap on everything. So yeah, the first one, oh yeah, why am I so smart? Because I got a job. Yeah, I got a job and I'm just so excited. I don't even know what to say. It was something that was so unexpected. I was trying to make this vlog, and then I suddenly got a call like, yo, you need to come for interviews. I went there and I got the job. It's just for a month, but hopefully they can extend it after seeing how I work. So let's get into the vlog, guys. Top Zambian car mods that I think people do the most in Zambia. I'll start with the first one, which I feel like is the cheapest to buy, the cheapest to install. And this one is a fast air intake. I mean, you can see almost each and every drift car running this mod because it's easy to install. Obviously, these mods, and from my knowledge, I know that a fast air intake isn't good on any car because those things require a lot of force to actually draw in air. Maybe or maybe not, I might be mistaken, but also feel free to comment down below which car mods you think I might have left out in this video. But yeah, fast air intake is one of them. It's cheap, you can install it, and the most advantageous thing is because normal car air intakes are placed inside the car where they might be too much heat and the engine will be drawing too much heat, and you know a car usually requires, not usually, all the time requires cold air in order for it to make more power and function properly. So an advantage of the cold air intake is that you can place it a little bit further from where you feel cold air might actually come in. The second one is exhaust systems. Almost each drift car, if not every, has an exhaust system. The reason being, obviously, is that one, we always want good sounds. We want our cars to be popping, moving flames. If you don't want that, I don't know what you want for cars, but yeah. Obviously, some are running the stock ones, but the main advantage in you having a proper exhaust is that you help the car breathe a little bit better. When you're hitting the high RPMs, meaning you're producing more smoke, and if your car has a normal exhaust, it might be restricted by the catalytic converter, which most people do remove just to make it straight piped, where there's nothing restricting the exhaust from engine to back. And that's why you see most of these cars spit in flames and whatnot. The third mod, I can't even see, a bucket seat. Why do people go with bucket seats? And I feel like a bucket seat isn't overly common in Zambia, but I feel like it's something that every car should have. There are obviously people that just want a car to look stock and drift as is so that it doesn't give off that impression, or maybe it looks like a missile car. But I feel like a bucket seat is one of those things that I'd obviously tick out on any of my cars because it one gives the car a sporty feel. They might be expensive if you're getting a brand new one, but it helps you sit comfortably in the car when you're drifting. Even when you're driving really fast, you don't have to slide and go out of your seat and then come back. So it also helps if you want to lose weight because those seats are made out of some material that is way lighter than the ordinary car seats. So if you want a bucket seat, you should obviously get one, and I feel like that's one of the mods. But I don't even remember the last time I saw a bucket seat in a car. I honestly don't remember, but I feel like it's one of those things that you really need. The fourth mod, I am not really sure whether I've seen a car do this, but I feel like it's something that is also really cheap in a sense, and it might be easy to install, even though you might need a little bit of tuning, and maybe the next mod will actually cover that, because when you have an ordinary camshaft, you can buy a performance camshaft, in which case it helps you open up your engine more. Like you have, if you buy a performance camshaft, you allow your engine to have the valves and exhaust valves more open for longer periods of time, such that you are letting in more air and you're letting out exhaust. And if it's a drift car, you really want those valves to be open letting in more air, and you want those valves, exhaust valves, to be open so that equally exhaust is leaving as you are under high pressure. The next one, uh, turbo. A turbo is probably one of the things that I think people do to really fast cars as well. And I think it's been seen on these more JZ engines compared to the BM engines, because the JZ engines come with turbos. The 2JZ GTE come with engines that are turbocharged already. And if you want to remove that and make more power, you can go with a bigger turbo, whereas still you need to increase the boost and whatnot. And it's one of those things that people are actually doing in Zambia, and you don't have to actually beefing up your engine or remove the crank, remove the pistons, put in forged crank, forged pistons and whatnot. So if you can go up a little bit in size in your turbo, you are allowed to make a little bit more power than you would on stock, even though it is kind of expensive, because you need other things, not just the turbo itself. You need an intercooler, because as you know, the turbo gets its energy off the exhaust fumes. So in order for you to make power, it will spin the turbo, meaning the air that comes out from the turbo is usually hot, and you have to cool down that air before taking it back into the engine. Even though there are those cars that actually just directly from the turbo to the engine, and I don't know how good that is, but it can make a little bit more power, but it won't really make that power. The disadvantage to that, I don't know if I've said any disadvantages to the other things, because I don't think they had disadvantages. The disadvantage to a turbo engine car, and if you increase the turbo size, it means you now be forcing your engine to work even harder, meaning the manufacturer set a reliability limit on the car, but now it's like you're exceeding it. So you are prone to have engine breakdowns, and yeah, so that's another mode that I see people doing. The next one, why can I not see? I wasn't planning properly. The next ones are obviously maps. And for you to understand this better, I think I'll have to go into the next mode a little bit more. And I'm sure you've seen Zambian cars, especially drift cars, going into the dictator management system. And that's because that allows you to tune the engine of the car more precisely than the stock ECU can, because those some usually come locked and maybe some are not accessible, and the dictator management system allows you to actually do things to your engine that otherwise wouldn't be allowed. So the sixth mode that people are doing is actually maps. I haven't seen one that actually has done this, but I think this is something that can easily be done, and people can actually put a map by just changing maybe or putting in a chip. I think I've seen this with 350Z guys that are actually doing this to increase the power, maybe put up a map that makes them pop, the exhaust pop, make flames and all that stuff. So a map, usually I think it will allow you to run more timing if you need to do that, because maybe the stock ECU of the car can't allow you to do that, because it might have a limit in which they know if you increase the timing, your engine might not perform as well, or it might have more power, but there will be another part of the engine that will suffer because of that. So if you go for the mapping, you might change a lot of things, especially for those that have electronic throttle bodies. It might help you to say increase your idling a little bit better and whatnot. But don't quote me on any of those things. So the next mode is a dictator management system. We all have heard those cars. We all have heard those cars popping, and like they rev it and and I feel I'll have to include that sound in this video, because there's no way you can go on with this video without including those sounds. It's one of those things I think that I really don't know much about, but I think has come into the industry and it's really helping. I've never actually seen anyone post, say, a dyno graph, because we don't have dynos in Zambia, but a dyno graph which would maybe show the power increase from stock ECU to dictator, because dictator obviously you'll be running a specialized map for that engine, which will be obviously bumping your power up. And as I said, stock ECU and aftermarket ECUs, there's a difference, because aftermarket, you're allowed to do whatever you want to the car, sort of. And it's an easy way to gain power, of course. What else did I say? Allows you to do more with the engine. And you can check your throttle position sensor. Some people think it's just for sound, but I think it actually does help out in power. Last but not least, wheels. One of the easiest things that can just make a car look nice. Wheels are literally the shoes of the car. And I mean, if you have brilliant wheels, some people, have you ever seen a car that has a really bad body, but the wheels are so on point and you think the car even looks good? I know I have, because I saw an E30 Gauche at one of the spin events that looked horrible in a way, but because of the wheels that it had, it really looked nice. And I feel like wheels can easily change the look of your car. It's cheap. And it can also help you with traction when you have a bigger wheel compared to your normal stock wheels. It will allow you to run a bigger size tire. Even though some say that because of your bigger wide tire, and you maybe know the Zambian roads, you find that your tire is this wide, but the road is this narrow, and the surface to tire grip is just not literally there, but it can help you gain a little bit more traction. And if you are those people that actually drive really fast, it can also help reduce the weight. I feel like there's a difference between stock wheels and aftermarket wheels in that aftermarket might be lighter, but yet stronger. That's if you go for the original and not replica, but I think there's still that kind of strength that is there. It might help with the feel of the steering wheel. It might become a little bit lighter, and yeah. 10th mod is radiator and fans. I feel like this is usually done to drift cars, not even a drift car, any other car, because as you are spinning, you're obviously exceeding how someone usually driving in the high RPM, 7,000. Maybe if it reaches 12, you're even there. But if you can't cool down your car, you find that maybe every 30 seconds, your car is overheating. And most people are actually going for fans because if you have bigger fans, you allow more air to be pushed through the radiator, cooling your water even faster. And a bigger radiator will allow you to actually have more water in there that will circulate the system and actually reduce the temperature of your car. The 11th, wow, I didn't even think would reach 11. This is so far down. And I feel like I hope that I'm giving you guys a really good representation of some of the modes that are actually done in Zambia. I might not list them all, but I feel like these are some of them. Among these, I feel like the top, there might be 5 that at least people do in Zambia. So I hope that you equally can comment below and tell me what mods you think Zambians do. The other one is obviously engine swaps. We have started seeing the amount of engine swaps coming in to Zambia, and it has been influenced by South Africans. Mostly, if you look at the worldwide globe, everyone is actually doing swaps, putting 2JZs in Nissan Silvias where an SR20 is supposed to be, putting 2JZs in, Skylines where an RB should be, putting RBs in Supras and whatnot. But in Zambia specifically, you've seen a rise in V8s, the 1UZ, and this is always accompanied by a dictator management system. And it might be one way to also make really easy power, but you really have to know what you're doing, because sometimes I feel like people just lose it in trying to add more power, and you find that the car does not even balance out itself. You find that maybe the engine is too heavy for the car and whatnot, but it's one of the easiest things to make power off. You don't have to rebuild another engine to make more power, and you might just, by changing an engine, go up by 100 horsepower. And the goodness in that will be that you don't actually change the engine or the V8, so meaning the reliability that is already there from Toyota will be in the V8 itself. The drawback is obviously losing the feel of the car as a natural feel. When manufacturers are making cars, they put a particular engine in there knowing how heavy the car is and how they want it to handle. So if you end up putting, say, where a 4-cylinder engine was, you put a V8. I don't know how the weights are, but obviously the V8 would weigh more, and you might find that the car does not do the same corner the way it used to with the less heavier engine. The 12th, wow, are we this far? It's a roll cage and hydro brake. I think I've seen a couple of cars in Zambia where you have the hydro brake. There are two conversion handbrakes. You have the one where you pull up, and then you have the one where you can just like yank it. And I feel like most people in Zambia don't use that because we're accustomed to the spinning. But I feel like it's something that should really be used even in spinning, just to like help you rotate the car, help you slow down the car, keep angle, all those things. And a roll cage as well. I think a roll cage is a must in any drift car because, I mean, anything can happen in a drift car and you need to be safe. If you also street drive that car, you need to be safe. You need to be protected. And I feel like that's one thing I'd always have in my car because I know how I drive. I know I like taking risks when I drive. Don't see me looking smart thinking I drive like, But yeah, I like driving really hard, and sometimes I feel like I need the roll cage to protect me and to allow me to go even harder because I know I'll be safe. And the hydro brake, even though it's not usually, I've seen a couple of cars with it, and I feel like more cars should have it. The last, is this the last one? It is the last. No, it's not the last one. I have a bonus for you guys, so we are remaining with two more. Fuel systems and injectors. I think we've seen a couple of posts online of you buying fuel pumps that have more rated for a higher horsepower, and I think if you go for a larger fuel system, you obviously help in cooling down the engine because you have more fuel going there. Like if it goes on the pistons, or maybe it's all about having a different type of fuel mix. Because I've heard or read rather where you can have a racing fuel, race fuel that if it's used, you actually help you to cool down the engine because the temperatures differ between your ordinary gas and the race fuel. But fuel systems in general can help you actually just have a smoother engine. And injectors as well, you can have high flowing injectors, you can have a higher rated horsepower pump, which will make sure you always have enough fuel when you need it. And maybe the other thing that I did not list are surge tanks. I think drift cars usually should have surge tanks for you to actually drift better because cars are always sliding about and you don't want your fuel. It goes one side and you're in the middle of a drift and then the car starts to, cut. So I think people should really have surge tanks. And the last one, the last bonus for you guys is liveries. I think if you watch my videos, I talk about liveries. I love liveries. I love them. I think most people should do that. It really looks cool. If you don't want to paint your car, just do that. I've seen a couple of cars that have them on, and it just looks sweet. It looks nice. And if that was a mod, just like any other performance mod, I feel like it should be on the top because cars need to do that. It makes the car have a different kind of feel with it. And I feel like if you have a dedicated drift car, you obviously need to go ahead. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's been kind of fast forwarded in that I feel like I've just been direct to the point, but isn't that what you guys want? Don't forget to check out any other videos on my channel, and I hope that the next video you actually see me going outdoors. I don't know how it will be because now I have a job, so I don't know.